Alright, good afternoon. I'm Mykie Pollard for So Simple Baits. Okay, so we're here today at the lovely ALVECHURCH Fisheries. I'm actually doing a feature for the first time for So Simple on the house pool. And we're going to target the bream today, but what we're actually going to do is we're going to fish with a different type of ground bait. We do a lot with the BMG, but today we're going to do it with the crush expander, the dark one, and we're going to do it with the fine skimmer. We're also going to show you a little bit of the FLURO crush as well, and all I'm going to do as a hook bait is fish corn, the So Simple corn. We're going to add some BMG boost as well. We're just having a look at Seb has just now brought out a clear one, so we're going to have a look at that today, and we're going to add that into the mix. And I'm just going to feed little grains of that So Simple corn. That's all I'm going to do. I haven't got any tins or anything like that. So what we're using today is solely what we're using, nothing else. As we said earlier, I'm just out obviously at ALVECHURCH Fisheries on the house pool, okay? So the house pool, just a little bit about it really. As I said earlier, I'm going to be fishing for the bream, okay? But also what else is in the house pool? It's, you know, loads of carp in here, but about 170 carp roughly, or going up to about £22. Lots of bream in here, as I keep saying, and they go up to about 8. There's a lot of skimmers between 4 to 8 ounces, and then you've got the next level up, which is £1 to £1.50. And then you've got the proper ones, you know, averaging £4 upwards. Also in the house pool, we have a lot of big roach in here. There is a famous roach in here now that still hasn't been caught, and he's £3 free. Okay, we've got about 20 over £2.5, and then we've got a lot of roach between £0.5 to £1.50. So you can imagine there's a good stamp in here. But they're an absolute nightmare to catch. But they are definitely in here, I can definitely tell you that. Also, we've got in the house pool, we've got a few tench. There isn't loads, but they get the average, you know, the average about £1, and there is a couple, I think, now up to over 5, but we don't see them very often because they're quite good at hiding. There is a lot of big perch in here now as well. There is a few smaller ones, we've got to get them out in the winter again, but we've definitely got perch up to £2.5, average about £1 mark. And it's just a way of trying to fish them to try and catch them. But the main species in here now is the bream. Okay, so I'm just going to go through it a little bit about each ground bait as we're using today. Right, so today we've got the fine skimmer, which is not so much fish meal in there, it's only a little bit. Okay, so what we want to do is use the crush expander, which everyone knows what crush expander is. You know, it's all based on the pellets, so all the fish meals are in there. So I'm just going to enhance it with the crush expander. And then what we're going to do then after that is I've got the BMG boost mix. So once I've added it in with the water, okay, I'm going to add some of this. Now the BMG boost mix, this one has been specially made for us today to try out, and he's actually said, bless him, he's made the clear one, which is something I've been wanting to use instead of changing. If we want to use it in our pellets and we want to keep the natural form of the pellets, the natural colour, okay, we've got the clear liquid, and this is something we're going to try out today. So hopefully this is going to go well, okay. And then after that, we've got the FLURO crush, which I talked about earlier. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to add that into a ground bait, but it's when I add it in, that's the key, okay. But I'm going to wet it down at the same time. For once, I'm actually a bit organised. I think it's because the main man's here himself, and he's, you know, keeping me in check for once. So I've actually got my water ready, my riddle, and my ground bait bar, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do about 50-50 mix, okay. I always do 50-50. Okay, today if I was using like 3 different types of ground bait, then I'll do probably 150, 125, and then 25 the other one. Okay, so I'm just going to pour it in. Don't need a lot, loads of it, because it's about controlling how much you're feeding. It's not about piling it in, okay. We want them to get them feeding properly, not just having too many fish in the swim. Okay, and then the same again, crush expander. This is the dark one. Okay, they come in 3 different packets now. Got the dark one, you've got the natural one, and limited edition one is the green one. Okay, so we've got 3 different colours, I suppose that's what you want to call it. Okay, so when you're adding your water, guys, all right, It's really important, okay? So what we do first is mix everything up together, get all the dry ingredients mixed up, okay? And then add in the water. Now, it's dependent on how much the ground bait. Now, it's a fine, both ground baits, so both the crush expander and the fine skimmer are very, very, very fine, yeah? Okay, so I don't think it's going to take a lot of water. I probably would say it might take about half a pint. Now, normally, I'm a little and often man. I think I've said this before in my video. I like to add me in, mix it up, add it in as I go, because then I can control how much I'm putting in. But for people in general, I always go for about half a pint first and then add it in little bits and often. But what you want to do is over wet it, because you want any particles that are in this mix to soak up that water, okay? So once it's soaked up, all right, then you can push it through the riddle, and then if you need to add a little bit more in, you can. If you don't need to add it, then you don't have to, okay? But the whole point is, once you've mixed it up, leave it for 20 minutes or so as a rule of thumb, okay? And let the mix actually dry out itself and let the particles soak up all that water, all right? A quick shake, and then all I'm going to do is mix it up. And when I'm mixing ground bait up, okay, guys? So a lot of people have now electric drills, okay? Or whisks, sorry, all right? I don't have one. So all I do then is I get my hands and I use my hands as a whisk, and then I'm going to spread my fingers out and get them right in there, okay? And then mix it right up. Right, and don't be shy, get your hands dirty, okay? And then, as you can see now, straight away it's forming, and actually it's still a bit too dry. Now, a lot of people look at that, well, that's not very dry, but trust me, I can feel it is quite dry, and there's still some lumps in there which I will get out. So I'm going to add a little bit more in, and this is where I go talk about little and often, okay? So I've probably got about a quarter of a pint left. So I'm just going to mix that right up, all right? And then once that's done, now you can see now it looks like it's ruined, okay, which it's got all the lumps in, okay? And all I'm going to do now with that is leave that for 20 minutes, all right? And then let the particles soak that up. I would expect this to start going dry again, okay? So once that's happened, then I'll add a little bit more water to it, and then what I'll do then is I'll put it through the riddle, then I'll put the bait juice through it, and then I'll add the crush, the FLURO crush. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm just going to mix this FLURO crush up with a little bit of water. So I've got some remaining water left, okay? So all I'm going to do is put a bit in there. Now it's really, it says 50ml on the packet, alright? It's really depending how much you want to use. That's just as a guide. I like to use a little bit more. I've said this before. Some people like to use a bit less, okay? I just feel like that's what I want to do. I've always done it and it works well for me. So what I'm going to do then is just pour some into the pot like that, okay? So I'm just probably going to put a bit more than normal, all right? And then all I'm going to do now, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but I'm just going to mix it in with the water. There's bits floating in it at the moment. This is the whole point why we're soaking it. And all I want it to do then is take on that water, that FLURO crush to take on all that water as much as it possibly can. Once that happens, then what I can do then is add it to my ground bait, because it won't float. But I want to leave it probably a good, 5 minutes, not long. Okay, and then any water that's remaining there, I'm going to drain it through. So I want to get all that water out, and then I can add it to my ground bait. Now the reason why we get the lumps out, okay, because I got a message the other day asking me, it goes in as a lump, blah blah blah. The actual reason why we do this, and all people do this, all the top anglers do this, riddle it through, is because we want to get the lumps out, because when it goes into the lake itself, we want the ground bait to break down. But what we don't want it to do, break down in lumps. We want it to break down into like a fine crumb, okay? And that then will prolong the fish to stay in your swim. The other thing it will do as well is won't fill the fish up so quick, because if you imagine yourselves, if you eat too quick, you get too full quickly, you don't want to eat anymore. It's exactly the same for the fish, all right? They suck up a lump, then they don't want it because they're filled up already. And this is why we riddle it through, okay? So I'm going to do that. So you can imagine now, I've already just put some lumps, but there's still some lumps in there, okay? So what I want to do now is I'm going to add this stuff, all right? And as you can see now, it's nice and clear, I'm hoping, yes. So nice and clear. Put quite a bit in, all right? Probably, about 50-60ml, all right? I'm going to give that another mix, okay? And you'll see again now, it's just gone a little bit more wet. And then what I'm going to do, while it's in this state, I'm going to then put the FLURO crush in, okay? So I've done quite a bit. I don't want all of that. Alright, I'll probably go a bit more because I love it. Okay, and then I'm going to give that a good mix in. All right, and what you have noticed is I haven't put anything else in. I've not put any 2mm pellets in, nothing like that. All I want it to do is just be the ground bait, and I want the FLURO crush. That's it. That's all I'm after. Okay, I want him just to feed on that, and then I want my piece of corn sat right on top of that. Okay, so they just pick that out straight away. All right. Kick off. What I'm going to do is, right, I'm going to show you the rigs that I'm using today and the elastics I'm using. Okay, so although I do know there is big carp in here, so I'm hoping to get away from them. If we do, well, good luck to me, because try and get them out. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to fish probably what 6-7 meters out, 2 + 2 give or take. Okay, on the new fish 6 to 8 zip. Okay. So you can see there, nice and soft elastic, okay, for the skimmers and the bream. All right, and any roach that is available. I'm going to fish that on the longer line. Okay, I actually got a 2 + 3 line, so that's the top kit plus 3 sections to my left. Okay, just in the same depth of water. Okay, what I'm going to use in this depth, so I'm probably fishing about 3.5 foot, I'd say. Got a little bit of a wind on it. It probably won't show up on the camera where the direction is, but I've got a 4x14 sit pre-float on, new fish float. Okay, and then that's on a £6 main line. All right, using down to a Guru Kaizen 16 hook. Okay, and which is £5 bottom. Okay, so it sounds a bit heavy for the style of fishing, but I do know the bream in here pull back. And they have a habit of getting off, so we need to use quite a decent hook. All right, shotting wise for 4x14, okay, normally I do 7 number 9s, okay, and then 2 number 11 droppers. All right, I've got a nice little bulk shot just up there, okay, and then I've got 2 droppers, 1, 2, very close together, probably about 6 inches apart. Okay, and all I want that to do is I'm going to lift and drop. I'm going to do it quite a lot. The bream in here like to see it falling through the water, but what I want to do is get it to go down real quick and then slow itself right down, so then they see that on the last drop. Okay, guys. All right, so it's 7 number 9s and 2 number 11s on the droppers. Okay, that's a rule of thumb. 4x14s, most floats will take 7 number 9s, 2 number 11s. 4x10s, 4x12s, 0.2s. Okay, which is, I'll show you in a minute. That's 7 number 10 straight through, or you can mess about with it, 5 number 10s, 2 number 12 droppers. It's really depending, just messing about with your rig. But it's really important to get that, your float dotted down, so you can see them, those little finicky bites that bream and F1s are, quite famous for. Especially if they're being a bit iffy. And the one thing I stress about all the time, okay, back shots. You've got to have a back shot. It really does aid you in striking into the fish. And it helps you control that line so you don't have any loose line floating around, okay? And then I've just got my nice medium Guru size pot on, which I will feed the corn and the ground bait through. Okay, so that's the 6 to 8. In front of me, okay guys, is the exact same float, but this is a 4x12, okay? And I'm using a 8 to 10 new fish sip, okay? Exactly same setup though, no change, £6 main line. But 7 number 10s all the way through with 1 number 10 dropper, size 16 Kaizen. Okay, and the reason why I'm fishing a top kit plus 1 section, fishing dead short for these bream, especially this time of year, right, those bigger bream will come in short. And I've done this before where I've been messing about and they were there in front of me and I actually couldn't believe it itself. So I'm expecting to catch the bigger bream short and the smaller bream longer. And that's pretty much it. But the whole thing in general is working exactly the same. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to start fishing. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prime my swims, all right? So as I said before, we've got a longish line, 6 metre line. I'm going to put 2 balls of ground bait, okay? What I am fishing on is I plumbed up just on top of the slope. So what I want to do, I'm going to just put it in just slightly before the slope goes down, okay? So I do not want the balls to roll down the hill. Okay, and then I'm going to do one ball on the short line, 2+1. But what I'm going to do with that one is, once I put the ball in, every now and again I'm going to throw about 3 bits of corn over the top. I'm going to create a little tiny bit of noise just drag them fish in, and then every now and again I'm going to top it up until I feel like it's ready to be fished. Now, the bream in here, well, the lake itself has a habit is you'll catch a few off one line, then it goes really weird. So it's really important to rotate your lines in this lake, okay? If you just try and sit there on one line, okay, especially at the beginning, it can tend to be quite slow. All right, the other guys, if they figure it out straight away, especially in a match, okay, they'll be catching fish a lot quicker than you. And it's really important to work out, you know, to keep the fish keep going and coming until they settle. Once they settle on the line, they will stay there, and you will catch, and you'll notice it as well, how quick the bites will come and how slow it will slow down. It's really noticeable here, so it's really important. And then I've got the other one, the 2+3 line, okay, slightly to my left hand side. I'm probably going to put another 2 balls, and I'm going to leave that alone, because what I want to do is be able to catch in front of me and have that as a backup line. So if the fish die in these 2 lines, I can go straight there, and I'm hoping they'll be there. But what I'll do during the day is I'll just keep topping up and topping up, and hopefully then I should be able to, my idea is, if both the lines die, I should be able to empty it off that line. And I've done it here before and I know it works, so I'm hoping today we'll do it again. The wind has just changed direction. It's more coming from our left to right now, which is perfect. It's what we wanted. It was coming off our backs, so I ain't going to complain about that. As you can see, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but guys, it's hot today. Poor Seb, I think he's burning behind the camera. I might pick him up off the floor later, depends if he's nice to me or not. Okay guys, so as I said, I'm just going to now put it in, and we'll go from there, and then we'll start fishing. So we just started literally 5 minutes. I think we were going 5 minutes 7, weren't we? So, yeah. And literally, as soon as you put it in, bang, straight away. Pound bream. Then I've had a 3-pounder, or 2.5 probably. And I've had 2 roach already. And this is the biggest roach, and I mean within 5 minutes of dropping it in. And it just goes to show, with that boost in the ground bait as well, they're straight on it. I mean, literally straight on it. Normally it takes a good 15 to 30 minutes to get him proper going, but I mean, it's literally in itself, it's just like gone, it's gone in and gone straight away. So you can tell they're proper on the feed, they're straight on it. All I'm doing at the moment, keeping them simple, a bit of corn on the hook, okay, and every now and again, after 2 fish, I'm just dropping in here about 3 or 4 bits of corn. That is it. I've got my ground bait, they're already on it, so I know the ground bait's not gone yet. All been eaten up, so I'm just going straight away, just feeding little bits of corn, keeping that bait going in, but I'm not feeding the ground bait. What I will do when it goes really weird and dead, because it will happen, that's when I'll top it up with some more ground bait. I'll probably put another ball in, and then if I really get him going and a proper feeding, what I'll do then is feed little tiny balls in my cad pot, and I'll just do that every fish, just keep them going and keep them going. And my boss has just instructed me I have to catch at least a 6-pounder today, so no pressure.
No pressure at all, mate.
No pressure, but we all know what I'm like in here. People who know me, they know I normally tend to catch them, so I'm hoping today that'll happen.
Let's see.
And that's it. But again, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but already straight away indication, and it won't take long. I mean, it's taking 30 seconds at the moment to get a bite. There you go again, a good pound and a half skimmer, and it just goes to show straight away they're just on that ground bait. That fine skimmer and that dark crush expander just works an absolute treat. And now this lake hasn't seen the fine skimmer, and it has seen the crush expander, but hasn't seen the fine skimmer. So again, a new ground bait I've just used on the same venue I fish a lot, and it goes to show how much it can work straight away. Right guys, so that's the end of today. A few hours in, and this is the result that we had today. Absolutely fantastic. Probably got easy over 60, 70 pounds.